From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. Despite return of civil rule in Rivers State and the resumption of state assembly, Governor Fubara's whereabouts remain unknown. President Tinubu condoles with victims of Lagos market fire as Governor Sanwo-Olu pledges commitment to safety measures. President Trump expresses disappointment at Putin's failure to reach peace deal on Ukraine after Alaska summit.
In business, Nigeria leads African countries to sign petroleum regulatory charter to attract investment across the region's energy sector.
In sports, Nigeria's quest to host Commonwealth Games gathers momentum as National Sports Commission welcomes bid evaluation committee to Abuja.
Thanks for joining us. Details of these stories shortly. We begin tonight in Rivers State, but on a rather dramatic note, where as at press time, the whereabouts of the reinstated Governor Siminalayi Fubara is unknown. However, the House of Assembly officially resumed plenary on Thursday, ending the 6-month emergency rule declared in the state by President Bola Tinubu in March. At the session, lawmakers led by House Leader and Major Jack and Deputy Leader Linda Somairi Stewart moved a motion calling for Governor Fubara to submit a fresh list of commissioner nominees and present a new budget proposal for the remainder of the year. The motion, supported by 26 members, also demanded a review of financial activities carried out during the emergency period, including contracts awarded and funds spent by the former sole dictator. Speaker Martin Amaewhule said the Assembly would formally write to the governor requesting the budget and the names of the nominees for the State Executive Council.
As an Assembly, will continue to abide by the terms of the peace pact between us, the governor, and all stakeholders for the interest of this state and, of course, for the good governance of their states. Thirdly, the House resolved that we should call on the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS, to forward the list of his nominees for appointment as commissioners into the Rivers State Executive Council, so that the wheel of governance in Rivers State can begin to move in the direction it should move, knowing fully well that it is important that there should be an executive council that has to be constituted by men and women of integrity, people that were screened by the Rivers Assembly in line with the Constitution, people who are willing to assist the governor to make Rivers State what it should be. The House also resolved that we should call on the governor to commence the process of forwarding an appropriation bill to the Rivers Assembly to cater for the financial plan that is expected to take us to the trajectory that Rivers people have been.
On Wednesday, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC, Tonye Cole, has said that the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, will have absolutely no powers when he eventually returns to office. While Cole described the situation as problematic for such an important state, he highlighted the recurring political godfather-godson conflicts in Nigeria, which he says often harm democracy and the people. He also urged Fubara to negotiate with the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike for a working arrangement that allows sole decision-making by the governor. My colleague, Israel Ferobo, has been on the ground in Rivers State, monitoring situation there. He joins me now alongside Tonye Cole, a former governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the state. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Israel, let's get up to speed. It's 9 p.m. Nigerian time, and the governor is still nowhere to be seen. What are you hearing, or what information do you have about his whereabouts?
Felicity, what we have been able to gather so far is that no one can actually say where at this point in time the city is waiting to see where the governor is, asking the question, where is he, when will he step into the state? No one has a detail on the whereabouts of Governor Siminalayi Fubara as at this moment. We came into the to get word of where of activities that were lined up and the return. But so far so good, has been shrouded in some sort of misery as he's at this time is still unknown. Felicity.
Okay, Israel, just hold on a bit. I'll come back to you. I understand Austin Azu is at the airport and he joins us as well now live. Austin, is there any information you have as to the whereabouts of the state governor, or has there been any communication from the State House?
Good evening, Felicity. We are currently at the airport road. This road is the one that leads to the airport and as well connects to other areas of Rivers State. Before now, from morning to now, we have been on this particular issue of where is the governor. It's expected that he ought to be in town today. We were all through at the airport, keeping watch, waiting for his arrival, and we went through all the processes at the airport, documentation and so on and so forth. By and large, the question remains, where is Governor Fubara? That's what we are still asking now, and everyone seems not to be providing the necessary answer that one needs to provide. And we are still waiting to hear further details. Is he going to come in the night, or he's going to come in the morning? So that's the question we are still asking. But however, like we keep saying, we'll keep you updated whatever is happening here in Rivers, particularly regarding the arrival of the governor.
All right, Israel, you are in the main town. Talk to us about the mood in the state since the lifting of the state of emergency and the reinstatement of sacked officials, including the lawmakers who we understand had a sit-in today.
Well, actually, I'm at Sani Abacha Road here in the main city here in Port Harcourt, and the situation here is calm and everyone excited. I spoke to a few locals here today, and they did express optimism on the fact that Governor Siminalayi Fubara is back, according to what we have been told, is back on paper, but we are yet to see him. They are excited, they are calm, they are hoping that the last 6 months will something that they can quickly forget and move on and let democracy take over here in Rivers State. Contrary to what some people may think, the state is indeed really calm. The people have expressed full support. From those I spoke, they expressed full support for the return of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. As for the lawmakers, yes, they did sit today, and the situation is still calm as well. We're hoping that they will find a way to move on. Though from the sitting today, there were some motions that were made, like telling the governor to go ahead and represent a budget for the rest. The people are just hoping around.
Okay. I think we have a little bit of a challenge with Israel's audio, but he was just giving us update on what is happening at the moment, which is exactly nothing. Everywhere seems calm. The governor who was reinstated is yet to be seen. Austin, is there a final thought you have on situation at the airport road? Were there people like your journalists and just citizens like yourself on that access earlier today?
Yes, we have a handful of other journalists who were actually on the ground to ensure that they capture the first entrance of the governor. Obviously, they waited all through and they couldn't get what they came for. So most of them started leaving one after the other after going through the rigorous process from gaining access into the airport. Nevertheless, besides that, it was expected that we ought to have seen, let's say, for instance, political pressure groups, just like what they had at Government House, to welcome the governor back to the state. But at the airport, there was nothing like that. We didn't see any of them. Even the people we met at the airport, we tried to talk to them. Most of them, we are not even aware that the governor will be coming back to the city today. And like what most of them expressed, they were quite happy. The political atmosphere in Rivers today is saturated with mixed feelings, hoping to see their governor after 6 months outside the seat of power. And some of them equally, gave a lot of advice and a lot of things that the governor needs to work on, most especially from what some of the respondents talked about. That
all right, Austin, we have a guest standing by as well. So thank you very much for the update. Israel, thank you too. I'm sure we'll be back with you in the morning for further update. Let's bring in our guest, the chieftain of the All Progressive Congress and a former governorship candidate of the same party, Tonye Cole. Thank you for your patience with us tonight so we could get what the situation is on the ground. A long-awaited climax now seems to have left everyone in further suspense. Democracy is back, but we don't know where the governor is, and that's the question. My colleagues on the ground have no information. Do you have any idea where the governor is?
Nobody seems to know where the governor is right now. There was a lot of expectation that he would be coming into Rivers State today, but no one seems to know where he is.
It's curious, though, that with the drama eventually ended, Rivers people had to wait, endlessly, and are still waiting for the arrival of the governor. But talk to us about the future of democracy in Rivers State. Did the state of emergency help matters at all? And you did raise a concern about the authenticity of the decision-making that will subsequently prevail with his reinstatement.
I've had issues with having a state of emergency declared in Rivers State. I did not think it was the best for democracy. And we saw in the last 6 months that what it did essentially was that it just puts a hold on every democratic principle that we believed in. But now that has been brought to an end, and we're meant to be getting back into democratic action over the next year and a half. But now, with not being sure where the governor is, whether he's coming back, maybe he's changed his mind and has decided that he's no longer happy with the agreement that he made. Nobody knows. And I think this is just putting another spanner in the works. We need to bring democracy back into Rivers State. And for now, everything seems to be suspended.
Yeah, I asked about your comments about the returning governor, the state he might be in regards to a decision making, where you correctly quoted when you said he needs to have perhaps an agreement with the FCT minister in terms of allowing him to make sole decisions as it affects the state. Add to that question, I hope you can get them all. The state's House of Assembly has had their sitting today, even in the absence of the governor. At the moment, we don't know the validity of that and the moves that they have made to want to write to the governor for commissioner nominee budgets and the like. Doesn't that give an indication that perhaps democracy is creeping back in?
No, because if you remember that what began this entire fight was exactly this. You had a state of assembly that was very divided from where the governor stood. And every candidate, every commissioner, everybody that had been appointed did not have any iota of input from the governor. And that's really what started it. And we're back to square one. So we're back to another scenario where the governor does not seem to have any say or any power. Now, whether or not he wants to rule, govern in that manner is something to see. The fact that he hasn't come back may be an indication that he's still not happy about the turn of events. Now, if he does come back and everything remains the same, he still is unable to nominate his commissioners, nominate the people who work with him, and he gets into a situation where he is a governor that really does not have any say in how he governs, then we may be back into another status quo. Now, what will he do? Will he choose to go back and fight again, or just decide that this time around he will just let things be and sign whatever he has to sign and have no say? I think he's in a very, very difficult situation right now.
All right. The Rivers State House of Assembly has called for a review of funds spent during the emergency period. I had a guest here last night, and the night before, Professor Peterside, who also talked about the need for a review of what transpired in the last 6 months. What are your thoughts on that as an effort to rebuild public trust in governance?
Well, so that has been, I've thought about that quite a bit. And I think if the government goes into probing the last 6 months, it means that we're absolutely going to have one term of a government that nothing has been done. And I don't think this is the time. If you ask me, we have less than about a year before full politics kicks in. And what Governor Fubara and the rest of the assembly should be doing is just ensuring that in the next 1 year, people actually feel that the government that was voted and took the reins of government is working for the people. And I don't think he has a lot of time. So probing the last administration may just be a colossal waste of time. We will end up looking at things and there will be no governance, no development, just a lot of scandal. I don't think that's what we need.
I guess we'll pause the conversation for now, pending further developments. Thank you very much, Sarah, for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Coming up, federal government holds passport production at multiple centers. We have details of this story and more when we return. You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Despite return of civil rule in Rivers State and the resumption of the State Assembly, Governor Fubara's whereabouts remain unknown. President Tinubu condoles with victims of Lagos market fire as Governor Sanwo-Olu pledges commitment to safety measures. President Trump expresses disappointment at Putin's failure to reach peace deal on Ukraine after Alaska summit. Let's tell you that the Nigeria Immigration Service has officially ended passport production at multiple centers, transitioning to a single centralized system for the first time in 62 years. Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, made the announcement on Thursday while inspecting Nigeria's new centralized passport personalization center at the NIS headquarters in Abuja. He stated that since the establishment of NIS in 1963, Nigeria had never operated a central passport production center until now, marking a major reform milestone. He explained that old machines could only produce 250 to 300 passports daily, but the new system had a capacity of 4,500 to 5,000 passports every day. President Bola Tinubu has condoled with families of those who lost their lives in the Afriland Towers fire on Lagos Island, in which 10 persons died. The authorities have confirmed the fatalities, including staff of the United Bank for Africa and Federal Inland Revenue Service, which occupied the building's upper floors. In a statement, Tinubu also sympathized with the injured and commended emergency responders for swift evacuation efforts. He urged greater caution, safety training, and vigilance to avert future tragedies. The blaze was among 2 fire incidents that hit the Lagos Island Business District, leaving casualties and extensive property damage. Also, the Lagos state government has reaffirmed its commitment to upholding fire safety measures across the state. This commitment comes at the heels of the fire incident that rocked the state during the week. At a press briefing on Thursday, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, expressed deep sorrow over the loss of lives, extending condolences to the affected families. Emergency services, including LASMA, the Fire and Rescue Service, and other agencies present in the meeting, asserted that no life was lost as a direct result of the fire, confirming reports that smoke from the fire was responsible for the deaths recorded.
All I know is that in Lagos, we take safety of lives as a very, very important aspect of governance, because you cannot govern over dead people. You cannot govern over destruction of property. So in Lagos, it is a very important aspect of our job as a government.
Batteries were the root cause of this fire. The fire quickly spread through the basement, but the fire service contained it to the basement. Now, we can also establish that the building maintenance manager, and in fact, the building itself had adequate fire emergency precautionary measures. There were fire panels there that went off, so the alarm systems went off. We can verify that the alarm systems went off. They also had an incident controller, unfortunately, who was knocked out by the initial smoke. We can state categorically that no one died from the fire. It was the second-hand effect of smoke that quickly traveled through the building that knocked people out.
To talk to us about the fire incident at the Lagos market and provide some precautions, I'm joined now by the Director of Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adesheyi. Thank you very much for being here. All right, I think we're trying to frame her properly. We'll come back to that conversation in a bit, but let's tell you that President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to travel to Kaduna State on Friday, September 19 for a one-day visit. Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Anonuga, disclosed this on Thursday in a statement titled, President Tinubu to visit Kaduna State. The statement noted that the President will attend the wedding of Nasiruddin Yari, son of Senator Abdulaziz Yari, who represents Zamfara West, and his bride, Safiya Shehu Idris. The statement added that the President will also pay a courtesy visit to Aisha, the widow of the late former President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, at the family residence in Kaduna. I guess we have our guest now, Margaret Adesheyi. Margaret, thank you very much for being here with us. Margaret, if you can hear me, good evening. I think we do have a challenge with the connection. Let's continue with the news. The Nigerian Armed Forces and media stakeholders have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening collaboration for peace building during the third quarter 2025 Media Stakeholders Seminar. The engagement, themed Consolidating Media-Military Synergy for Sustainable Peace in Nigeria, brought together journalists, civil society organizations, academics, and security experts to discuss their shared responsibility in promoting peace and national unity. Umaru Kirawa reports.
A new part of cooperation as the Nigerian Armed Forces, the media and other stakeholders converge in Maiduguri for the third quarter Media Stakeholders Seminar. Experts and decision makers focused on how effective communication can enhance security and cement relationships between the military, the media, and the public.
Let us therefore move from suspicion to solidarity, from conflict to collaboration, and from fragmented messaging to a unified narrative of peace, resilience, and national development.
Activities such as joint workshops, the one we are holding today, conflict-sensitive journalism training, and media embedding programs can deepen mutual understanding and enhance professional competence of both journalists and military media officers.
Peace and security cannot be sustained by force alone. They must be nurtured through positive narrative, civic engagement, and inclusive communication. This is where the media has a unique and powerful role to play.
Experts acknowledge that while the military battles insurgency and other security threats on the field, the media combats misinformation, propaganda, and divisive narratives in the information space.
When there's rewards for hard work, it inspires people to do more. So we want to encourage the military, beyond this seminar, beyond these conferences, which also have tangible things that will encourage the media in doing their work, in terms of tools, in terms of even public announcement of recognition that this set of people, it will not in the past, where journalists are being called upon and honored for their gallantry, for their professional reporting, and for their patriotism. Look, the media, especially we in the Northeast, have sacrificed so much in the area of national peace building in this country.
Participants agree that fostering mutual respect between the media and the military could help Nigerians better understand security operations, reduce tension, and strengthen democracy. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Tonight returns after this short break. Do stay with us. Let's go back to one of our headline stories tonight on the Lagos market fire. We now have the Director of Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adeshe. Thank you for being here tonight. Back to back, quick succession, 2 fires. What could be the cause? Are they related? Margaret, can you hear me?
I'm with you.
Okay, I'm trying to find out from you. For many, it might seem really strange that we have 2 fires in quick succession. Are the causes related?
This same fire happened at Lagos Island on 2 days ago. The first one happened at Afriland building. The building involved it's a 7-story building. Use it as an administrative block, The fire there emanated from the basement, from the battery inverter under the building where the basement is located, and the firefighter was able to confine the fire into the basement. The fire does not spread to the main building, but the smoke engulfed the main building. While the second one is not far from there, it's 5-hour difference that happened at a central plaza where the fire spread to 4-story, from 3-story buildings spread to 4 buildings.
Do you feel the situation could have been better prevented? Margaret, if you can hear me, do you feel that the situation would have been better prevented?
I hear you again.
All right, this is a bit, I don't know how we can. Okay, let's try one more time. The upholding of fire safety measures across the state is obviously paramount, but how does the state government intend to perhaps get to the root cause of these fires and stop them from reoccurring? Unfortunately, this is not working. We apologize for the delay in communicating with our guests. It's primarily due to network challenges. Away from Nigeria, President Donald Trump has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin really let him down during talks with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on the final day of his UK state visit. The meeting at Starmer's Chequers residence focused on tough issues, including the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. Starmer is acting as a bridge between Trump and European allies to push for more U.S. support for Ukraine. Trump expressed frustration that despite his personal rapport with Putin, the Ukraine war continues. He urged European nations to stop buying Russian oil, warning that lower oil prices could force Putin to withdraw from the conflict. We can now confirm that President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have boarded Air Force One at London's Stated Airport, concluding their UK state visit and heading back to the United States. In a joint press conference, Trump suggested UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer could involve the military to address the ongoing small boat immigration crisis. On Starmer's plan to recognize the Palestinian state, Trump expressed disagreement with the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, the visit saw the signing of a new technology prosperity deal with major companies like Microsoft and Google committing billions in investments in the UK. Business, sports, and entertainment news comes up after this short break. Do stay with us.
Talking business now, African petroleum regulators led by Nigeria have launched a continental forum to harmonize oil regulations and attract investment across Africa's energy sector. The move aims to create a more integrated and transparent energy market amid declining global investment. 8 countries, including Nigeria, Ghana, Somalia, Gambia, Madagascar, Sudan, Guinea, and Togo, signed the AfriPerf Charter, with 7 others pledging future support. The signing, chaired by Benga Komolafe of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, occurred on September 18, 2025, during the Africa Oil Week in Accra, Ghana. The initiative seeks to unlock capital by aligning regulatory frameworks across African nations. As of August 2025, the Central Bank of Nigeria increased dollar sales to $574 million, a 76% rise from July's $326 million, to stabilize the foreign exchange market amid declining inflows. This intervention aimed to ease liquidity pressures as foreign exchange supply tightened. According to FMDQ Exchange, total FX inflows into Nigeria dropped by 12% month-on-month to $3.4 billion in August, down from $3.8 billion in July. The fall followed a brief rebound in July, which saw a 24% increase in inflows. The CBN's action highlights efforts to support the Naira and address market volatility. And straight to the stock market now. The NGX all-share index edged up 0.16% to close at 142,263.7 points, with a market capitalization crossing the 90 trillion naira market to 90.008 trillion naira, extending the market's bullish run. Straight to sectoral performance now. The banking sector slipped 0.23%. as a sell pressure in GTCO dragged the line, and insurance also dropped by 1.07%. Looking at its weakness in Cornerstone Oil and Gas, which actually gained 0.28%. Talking about oil and gas right now, with Seplat ticking higher, while consumer goods advanced 0.75% on renewed demand for Nigerian breweries. Industrial goods was flat, inching up just 0.01% as Dangote Cement traded quietly. And we see here that the market managed a modest advance supported by consumer and energy plays. That's it on business. I am Lekon Onobanjo. We'll bring you sports news in a bit.
Tonight on sports, the National Sports Commission today received the Commonwealth Sport Bid Evaluation Committee in Abuja as Nigeria's push to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games gathered momentum. NSC Chairman Shehu Diko and Director General Bukola Olopade reaffirmed the nation's readiness, stressing President Bola Tinubu's commitment to bringing the Games to Africa for the first time. Diko described Nigeria's bid as a celebration of the country's sporting force, while Olopade highlighted its strong facilities, political will, private sector support and passionate fan base. The delegation, led by Darren Hall, also met Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, who represented President Tinubu alongside 9 cabinet ministers. Officials expressed optimism that Abuja's bid could secure the historic hosting rights for Africa. USA's Sydney McLaughlin-Levron produced the fastest women's 400-meter run in 40 years, clocking 47.78 seconds to win gold at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. The American, already a 2-time Olympic and world champion in the 400 meters hurdles, underlined her stunning transition to the flat event by holding off Olympic champion Marilady Paulino in a thrilling finish. Only Marita Koch's 1985 world record of 47.60 seconds, set under East Germany's doping regime, remains faster, cementing McLaughlin-Levron's place among the event's greats. Paulino, who was the defending champion, ran 47.98 seconds for silver, making her the 3rd fastest woman ever. Former champion Salwa Eid Nasser of Bahrain claimed bronze in 48.19 seconds. South Africa will face disciplinary proceedings for fielding a suspended player in a 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier in March 2025, which will likely see them docked points and puts their hopes of advancing to next year's finals in jeopardy. World Football's governing body, FIFA, informed the South African Football Association that it was charging them over the fielding of suspended midfielder Teboho Mokoena in their 2-0 win over Lesotho. If found guilty, the match will be automatically forfeited and 3 points and 3 goals would be awarded to Lesotho, while South Africa would suffer a 3-point deduction. This would leave South Africa level with Benin on 14 points at the top of Group C, with 2 qualifiers each left, with Nigeria and Rwanda only 3 points back. Only the group winners automatically advance to next year's World Cup. And that's it on Sports Tonight. Entertainment is up next. I am Okwe Adibari.
Time for entertainment, and Kate is here with all the juicy detail. I've not heard of Mehdi for a while.
I know, right? This is a surprise to me as well. Good to see you, Felicity.
Same.
All right, Nigerian singer Mr. Mehdi lit up Oroshoki with a street performance at the Hush Puppy Cup alongside Small Doctor, but the buzz turned messy online. Now, Wizkid's pal, 2Fab, mocked him on X, joking that he acted like it was the O2 Arena. Though deleted now, the jabs-packed drama, and DJ Neptune defended Mehdi, praising his hustle, while Scales blasted 2Fab as a jobless 40-year-old. 2Fab, of course, clapped back, feeling the chaos. Mehdi calmly reminded fans that my street crowd's human too. Now fans are divided. Respect the grind or side eye the show. I mean, that's all the gist with regards to that on Mehdi's matter there. Now, moving on now, we're going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel, the show that was suspended, and the cancellation was tied to Charlie Kirk's remarks. Now, Disney's ABC has yanked Jimmy Kimmel live indefinitely after Nexstar Media, which owns 32 ABC stations, protested his jokes about conservative activist Charlie Kirk's shooting. Now, Kimmel had mocked the MAGA gang for politicizing the September 10 Utah Valley University incident and even took jabs at Trump. Nexstar vowed to replace the show with Sinclair's 28 affiliates joining in, jeopardizing Kimmel's $76.6 million ad haul from, way before then. So this show has been suspended for now, and we'll see how that pans out in coming days. That's all we have for you on entertainment for tonight. Thank you for listening.
And that's the news tonight. Would love to hear from you. Please send your eyewitness report to the number showing now on your screen. Would love a follow from you on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can choose to watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274. We're on Abo TV and streaming on YouTube. Thank you as always for being here. Have a good night.